Hello, everyone. This is Shocking Jay. I am Bren, here with
Ryan.
and Shocking Jay is a channel where Ryan and I either play games or talk about things that we
play
enjoy.
Pokemon and talk about My Hero Academia. That's it.
And yes, so far, but it's basically play games and watch anime. So and then we talk about it. So today we just finished the remastered, remade. What do we want to call it?
It's a remake. It's a new adaptation. It's a new series that also had another series.
Called Legend of the Galactic Heroes DNT.
Oh, you got the name right for the first time ever.
Well, I have to, so that way people who want to watch it can go watch it.
After we were watching Legend of the Galactic Heroes, or we are watching it, we did. While we were watching it, we're also watching Star Blazers and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders, and Bren could not get the name right for like any of those.
I just started mixing everything together, and then so
it's a very long title: Legend of the Galactic Heroes, DNT.
Yes. So I was like, I'm just gonna make up what I want to say, and then it just became an inside joke. So.
Well, yeah, this is our season 1 discussion.
Yes, so 12 episodes, the dub that aired on Funimation.
Yeah,
so,
neither of us have seen the original.
Correct.
Or read the novels.
Right.
I don't even know if those are translated officially.
I don't know either, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was very good, but let's jump into
there you go. What do you think of it? You thought it was good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was, I thought the characters were very fun to follow and watch, and that was great.
Yeah, so we didn't see the original, so we, didn't have anything to compare it to or anything. But yeah, right. I also liked it. I thought it was good. It's obviously, it's only a small part of the story. There's only, we know we're getting a season 2, but it's only going to be another 12 episodes because like the original anime, I think was like 90, at least 90 episodes. And
for like the whole thing?
The whole show. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like 90 episodes. So like this is only like a small, hypothetically, assuming they're not like rushing the story or something. And then I think there's like 9 or 10 volumes of 9 or 10 novels.
Oh, okay.
It's like the whole story.
Interesting.
So,
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, there's only a small piece. So like only the beginning, which is interesting to think about watching this. Because it definitely, it ends on a cliffhanger.
Season 1 does,
yeah. Season 1. Because they announced, there's going to be another season after this. But like, it's interesting to think about this as like, oh wow, this could only be like the very beginning, like the first chapter, and like, who knows where it's gonna go from here. But yeah, overall, just general thoughts. Yeah, I really liked it. It's a lot different from a lot of the other shows that at least we're watching right now.
Yes, and to give perspective on that, we are watching Star Blazers. We are
watching Star Blazers at the same time, and it's kind of funny to compare those two.
It is
both remakes, one from the 90s and the other from the 70s, and it's kind of interesting to like see it that way.
Yeah, and then
they're both completely different shows, but yeah,
very true. Both good. But I did like this one better if I had to choose.
Well, Star Blazers is kind of like, I haven't seen Star Trek, but it felt like Star Trek, and this feels like way more like intellectual, like way more like in depth with themes of war and politics and all that.
Yes,
Star Blazers is just this like, let's go on an adventure and shoot some aliens, do stuff.
We're the last, humanity's last hope, and we're gonna go on this like, impossible quest.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it because, we're the last hope.
Yeah.
Star Wars. No, okay. But
Star Wars, is that what you're...
Yeah, well, Lost Hope and Last Hope. Whatever.
Yeah, it's Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Right. But yes, this one definitely has its own unique vibe to it, which I think is really cool.
It
brings up
like its own
themes, topics that really, I wouldn't necessarily, it should like stir you either from like a thought-provoking sense or like an emotional sense, or as you get, I'd say the later half, when you start to see all the stuff behind, like the politics behind war, then you start to see and are provoked and, you know, have these reactions to like, oh wow, this is, you know, this is really messed up, and or this is like, wow, this is really honorable, or wherever it falls in between. And I think, to me, that's a really enjoyable experience because it makes it very real and tangible, but also just adds a whole nother like dimension to your viewing experience.
So yeah, let's continue on that. What were like some of your? I mean, I wrote some down. I don't know how many notes you made, but what are like some of your general like just pros about the show?
Pros about the show,
just like things you liked.
What I just talked about being thought provoking, which I think is
to continue on.
Right. There have only been 2 anime that I have ever given, and from my standpoint, a 10 out of 10. And one of them was Psycho-Pass, which is incredibly thought-provoking when it comes to what is justice, what does that mean, how can it be carried out, and what the process looks like. And so I really love the real, like, hey, this makes you think about life.
Thought-provoking shows, yes.
Yeah, so I dig that. You know, it really made me think about, you know, the world that I live in as well as the world that I'm watching, which is really cool.
Yeah, what's the other 10? I know Psycho-Pass. What's the other one?
Initial D.
Oh, Initial D. Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
And Initial D, which,
yeah. So
it doesn't back up that point, but anyways.
Right, that one, those are very, very different. But yes, one of them, the same kind of general aspect of making you think. It doesn't make you think, I'd say, as much as Psycho-Pass does, but it definitely gets you in that same direction, which is really cool. And I enjoy. So that was a big plus for me. Another one would be the characters. I think the character archetype of like this very intellectual, you know, I don't want to say like all knowing, but like they're gonna pull something, you know, out of their pocket to really just like
really smart
dazzle.
Characters.
They're
Geniuses.
always thinking ahead. Yeah. I love watching those characters. I think it's so fun. I'm nowhere near that, and I don't know if it's just like my fantasy to be one of those characters, but it's so cool to watch it just because you're like, they're never going to freak out, you know? And they'll be like, oh my God.
Cool under pressure.
Yes, I love it. It's great. So that's...
the first episode really gave like a Death Note vibe almost. Of
it's like L and Light.
These 2 guys and like...
So that's very true.
Opposing forces, just both... extremely smart individuals with all this power.
Basically playing a chess game in real life, which is so cool.
Same like Code Geass.
Right, yes, I love those
especially because Code Geass is like war too.
Right.
So a lot of similar stuff there.
So yeah, I love that. Love those character archetypes to follow. Super fun. And then I liked how fast paced it was. They really never skipped a beat in an episode, and they just kept moving forward, and it was always...
Yeah, I thought the pacing was pretty good.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I think, like, I mentioned the first episode, and it was kind of cool to, like, see, you know... Or I guess in the first episode, we really just see one side. But then it teases at the end the other side.
Yeah.
I don't really like the first episode, especially as I think back to it, just because it's, like... It's so just straightforward, you know? And I get how like some people would like that, but I kind of thought that was like that's like the worst episode almost. I feel because it just gets like better. I feel like the show just only gets better, you know?
I'd say that
build on itself.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, I think the pacing overall was like pretty good.
Yeah, and the first episode wasn't bad. I don't think I watched it a second time.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just like. You know, it doesn't have all the aspects that we see later.
Right, which I think does
like
relative to the other episodes, it's probably the worst.
Especially like episode 3 and 4, it like builds so quickly, and I really like that. Of like how it introduces a lot of stuff, like pretty well early on.
Like,
just like I'm thinking of Yang Wenli, his side of like when we see and Reinhardt, but when we see like his There are so many characters in this show, and they all have names.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to know any of them except for, like, 3. But yeah, his, I don't remember, but his, like, friend who dies, I guess in the first episode.
Oh, Young, yeah, who's like, what's her face? This is really.
I don't know. But yeah, and then her.
Is it Jennifer? Is her name Jennifer?
Something like that.
Something.
She has a very American English name.
Yeah.
But yeah, she.
It's like her fiance that we find out later is her fiance.
I'm saying when they get into that, like really quickly, I like that. I liked how. And
they start to really like flesh out the world behind the character, right? Like where they came from, their background.
Yeah, they dropped this like,
their connection
almost immediately, but like the first 4 episodes like alternate between having Young Lee and Reinhardt, and I thought that was super cool, especially when they did the
ending,
backstory.
Yeah, and the ending like
the ending
hands
song
to the other side. Yeah. I know, and then like they do like 3 episodes in a row of Young Lee, and you're like,
and then
I liked it,
and then we never see Reinhardt again.
Yeah, right. But he's coming back in full force.
I know,
as he did in the last episode, and as I'm sure he will in the beginning of season 2.
If they didn't announce season 2, I'd be way more critical of this. But like, we really only got to see Reinhardt and Yang Lee in episode like 2 or whatever, and then like never again.
Yeah, they
never interact ever again.
Right.
And I was kind of bummed.
They like hype it up because it's like, oh, these 2 characters really respect each other. You know that much.
I was waiting for that moment.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I mean, I was okay not getting it as soon as I like the hype. The build up to it is cool with me, but I do think that I did want to see some more interactions between them. I don't know. Or maybe no. I'd say I'm satisfied, but what the heck do I know?
Well, yeah.
So
it's
but that's a good point. It's a good point. There's a different dynamic.
It's not like a negative because that's the thing. I know there's more coming. It's
like
I know they're it ended on like a cliffhanger kind of.
Yeah, that's very true. I think because we know that season 2 is coming, I was okay with the ending of season 1. But if I didn't know there's season 2, I think I'd be a little upset.
Oh well, I think they wouldn't have done that if they didn't know they were getting that.
Right. So, but I thought it was cool. Yeah, the pacing was good.
I thought. Well, I mean, yeah, you mentioned the ending. I thought the opening was fantastic for this show. I loved the opening. I just thought it was like so.
Oh, like the opening theme to the.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It like builds so well and like the imagery. I mean, like I like the song probably way more than the visuals, but I just thought the opening was like super cool. That was like one of my favorite parts.
Really?
Yeah, I just really liked
cool.
that. I thought it was really well like done.
Yeah. No, that's cool. The ending was probably fitting for like a wartime anime, you know? Oftentimes episodes would end with like it's war, like it's nothing good comes of it, you know what I mean? So it's very fitting. You know, at the end of an episode, you usually like people have died and tragedies have happened, and like the it's not like overburdening, I would say, in terms of like, oh my gosh, like I've lost all hope in life, but it's also not like, oh hey, this calls for like a super like upbeat song and like, hey, let's like cheer and look at all the characters smiling and dancing around and like some cosplay reference to, you know, Bleach ending there, but like.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say My Hero Academia because I just think of like the last year with the fantasy. Remember, they were like all fantasy characters. That ending.
Oh my gosh!
I thought you were thinking of them like, yeah, that's like shonen stuff.
That's So, I'm trying to remember the.
I thought the scale was really cool. Just like, kind of a simple thing, but like. Just like how many ships? Like 20,000 ships?
Yeah.
Like that was like that was like the coolest part of the first episode. It's just like
just
the
seeing
scale.
the scale. Yeah, totally. And you're just like, holy moly, this is. Oh, that also brings up a point of, you know, at the beginning they're like, hey, there's 3 main powers or whatever in like
exposition, yeah.
In the universe, and then you just like jump into the battle between 2 of them, and like that's it, and you really don't find out anything about the third at all, and it's not even like somewhat alluded to until at least halfway through the season, and I thought that was really cool. But then also you kind of get there and you go, oh yeah, there's a totally like another third party power that is probably like a Switzerland neutral type, and just kind of
They
like,
said that, I think.
yes, but it's also like, whoa, that adds a totally like different. It adds another card to the hand, and you're like, oh, this could be really cool with the interaction of how it plays in.
Yeah, the exposition, there's a lot of it, so I didn't love that, but the lore and like just this whole world is really cool.
Yes,
is really like the whole was super interesting for me is when they're like, I mean, I don't remember exactly, but they're like, it used to be like this. Like, I think it was like our world basically, and it was like, here's 3,000 years in the future, and it was like, I think that is just like super interesting the way they like went through of like what happened.
Yeah,
that was interesting. That was cool.
Yeah, just like the scale of the show and the amount of ships and I mean, it makes sense if you think about how many ships there are, like how many planets, how many characters there are, It would be it'd be very weird if it was like only two big characters battling over this universe,
I mean, aside from the 100 characters, they did make it feel like, it was a real large scale fight.
Yes, yeah, they did. They definitely did not do the opposite, At like every single fight, they were like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 ships, and you're like, okay, this is like a big deal, It
was hard to grasp.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes, yeah. It definitely was, which is pretty cool. But I want to take a second to jump back into the thought-provoking stuff of the two different sides of quote-unquote democracy and quote-unquote like monarchy or dictatorship or whatever.
I literally just call them the rebellion and the empire. That's like what they are, basically.
Yeah. So the empire is an empire, being, living in the United States, and then you learn about democracy and the evil of empires and stuff like that. It's not like... So that's kind of deemed the initial bad guy, quote-unquote.
Yeah, they find ways... They show you the good and bad... I mean, they especially show you the bad side of the other side, not the empire.
Right. And that's where I was going of, initially like, oh, the empire is bad, dictator, whatever. It's all about like nobility and blood, whatever. But yeah, they jump back to the corruption, like the intense corruption of the alliance and like the so-called democratic process and like this what do they call it? Like the High Council, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, the High Council, and they like basically make decisions for the whole entire alliance. And they're like, oh yeah.
I think it's not just like one planet, right? It's like
yeah,
a galaxy.
Yeah, and there's like a few of them that are dedicated to the
That's
people.
That's insane. That like doesn't seem realistic.
Right. And there's a few of them dedicated to people, and the rest of them are just concerned about re-election, which is like totally relatable because that's exactly what happens in today's politics. Mm-hmm. And then you're watching these people make this decision, and you're like, are you kidding me? You're literally gonna kill like millions of people just for re-election. Yeah. That's insanity. So, talk about, hitting you in a spot that like makes you think about corruption and politics and, who has power and why and how they should wield it and what that process of, checks and balances should look like and stuff. So that was really cool in terms of just the ability to make a real life situation.
I wish we saw the Empire more though.
Yeah, but I think they'll touch on it in season 2 because I feel like they were really building the Alliance side in the second half of the season, and they're just going to ramp up with the Empire, like taking over and just swallowing the Alliance again.
I know, I want to be wrong. I'm afraid they're not going to do that.
I think they will, but yeah, there's a chance they won't. They definitely favor Yang Wen Li, but I think his character's really cool. It's definitely...
I just feel like they're making him, like the main character.
Yes, that definitely feels like the case. I do want to learn a little bit more to... What's it? Reinhardt Lohengrin? I do want to learn a little bit more to his character, but I also feel like his character is less complicated and doesn't need as much.
That's true.
Like, Young Win Lee's character is a lot more...
internal conflict.
Yeah, but it's also just, like, more intricate. He has this very pacifistic background.
He's not as focused. You know? He's
right.
He's kind of like... people can, like, sway him a lot. Or, like,
sway.
Or try to, at least, you know? Or, like, people challenge him a lot on his ideals.
Yeah, and he's more out there just to kind of, like, you know, keep peace. He's like, yeah...
Well, he's kind of, like, against the government, or Reinhardt is with the government.
He's trying to exploit the government and, like, the rules.
He's just trying to, like, rank up.
Yeah.
And you know...
Young Win Lee's the opposite.
Do the right thing.
He's not trying to rank up, but he is, and he's exactly trying to do the right thing.
And that dichotomy is cool, but yeah, like, we never see Reinhardt, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, by the end, I was like, dude, we, like, hardly... And there's just... the plot, like... they, like, just go on and on and on and on about all these different things. It's so hard to keep up sometimes.
It is a lot. It definitely is a lot.
It really is overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah. Trying to remember characters' names is...
It's so funny. They put a title, like, every time. Like, I'm not going to remember that.
Yeah. But...
on every character.
I know.
It's so fun. It's literally like a parody almost. You know, like, and of course, Sergeant, you know, Bob McStruselheim. It's like, dude, I'm not going to remember. Like, for 5 seconds they're in it and then they're gone.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
I like it. I don't see...
I know, it's just like, am I supposed to remember you?
No, but
it's just funny introducing them and giving all these characters a name.
Yeah. It just adds to the world, I guess. But I like the... what are the... that Special Forces team that...
The 13th Fleet?
No. Yes. Yes, that's what Young Win Lee gets. But that he hires that one captain who was... my goodness. What's that thing called?
I don't know what you're talking about. The army? He was in charge of a little, like, army.
Yeah, no, he's in charge of the 13th Fleet. But he hires that one captain of the, like, Special Forces squad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's that squad called?
Dude, I don't remember.
Oh, man. Do you remember the guy's name?
No.
Voice actor's name? He's got a cool... He's got a cool voice actor.
I literally don't even remember who it was.
Really?
I want to say it was Robert... McCullum? The guy who does Kogami. It was him, right? No? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I think it was. I don't remember. I usually remembered his name, but I don't quite at the moment. I think that... Remember I was talking about why they're practicing hand-to-hand combat. They just, like, shoot at each other's ships. Like, it makes no sense to me.
But then we had that super cool mission where they totally used it and they, like, infiltrated. That was sick.
That was really cool.
I don't remember that, but it was a two-parter.
Yes. Super cool. Super
I love that they, like, focus in on, like, little stuff like that, but then they draw so far out on the war and we see, like, you know, that's cool.
Yes. Yeah, that was like, oh, okay, so this guy's actually being used for skills, and there's a lot more than just, like, 30,000 ships shooting at 25,000 ships, or whatever the numbers are.
And it literally was just, like, charge at each other. You know, like, there was not, like they were very just formal in their attacks.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to look at the character's name, because it's literally going to bother me forever. It's this dude.
Isn't it, like, Wolf something? I don't know.
No, that's the Empire.
No. He had a cool story, though.
Yes, that's what I wanted.
They kind of went on his backstory a little bit, and that was super cool.
Yeah, and he's like this highly suspect traitor defect again.
Well, I didn't really understand
his backstory was cool.
It was like everyone before him, he was a part of a group of people that went against the Empire. But then everyone went back to the Empire.
Yeah. So they're like double crossers.
Except, and he's the next one in line, yeah.
Or like a double agent, so to speak. Or they turn into double agents, which is interesting. Kind of made sense. And it really reminded me of like Yang Wen Li is like this awesome character because he takes chances like that of, yeah, if this guy like defects back to the Empire, then we are totally screwed, Yeah,
but he kind of like didn't care, or he just kind of like went with his plan,
Reminds me of like super good villains, They're like willing to put themselves at risk somewhat,
It's because they're fighting for something.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. So, yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit as I'm trying to.
I just wanted to say one of my cons I wrote down as a note. I didn't really like Julian.
I think Julian serves as this.
I know what you're about to
household.
Say. That's the reason I didn't like it. It's because he didn't feel like a real character. He just felt like someone to like. Yang Wen Li.
He adds more to the
because
house.
I live with you. I can fight you every time, or not fight you, but like I can. He just feel he was just someone to like spark discussions with.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't feel like, he was a little like, what's the term for this? It's like Mary Sue of just like. Good at everything. He's just like and I'm nice and I have no problems and I'm gonna go to the army and you're so nice and I'll clean the house and it's just like so like
he adopts this perfect kid
and we'll just like
and the kid totally takes care of himself and then takes care of Yang Wen Li on top of
I don't need a side story for him, but he was just like a little too like and I'm your new son like
yeah, and he's like totally okay. Yang Wen Li goes away forever and he's just like totally okay.
Yeah.
You're like, what? No. This, you need to be like a kid and be like, I'm struggling, He was
a little too just like, what?
Yes. Be like an angsty teenager, not like a well put together 17-year-old that we all wish we could be when we were that age. Gosh. Whatever. But, yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind his character. But I totally get where you're coming from in terms of, I wish... I think it'd be better if he was a little different, but...
He wasn't bad. It was just, like, kind of... I don't know. I thought it was kind of dumb. But, like, it wasn't that he didn't, like, make the show worse. It was just something I wasn't a fan of.
Okay, fair enough.
Because, like, the conversations they had were, like, good and interesting, It's, like... He was fun to have, like, to be there,
Mm-hmm.
For Yang Wen Li to bounce off of. Yang. But, yeah, he was just kind of, like... a whatever character.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Totally true.
We covered almost everything, almost all my notes, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more.
I thought the presentation, dude, the animation, just overall, is so good. The show is, like, beautiful.
Yes, very, very aesthetically pleasing.
The show looks, like, so good.
Yeah. So, that was really, all the space battles and all that stuff, just amazing.
I mean... I don't really remember, like, the actual, like, cinematography and, like, the shots. Like, being, like, super, like, stood out a lot, but, like, just visually, like, the designs of, like, I really like the designs of, like, their world, like, the Empire world, like, and the different locations.
And the stark contrast.
Really
cool,
yeah.
Yes, definitely.
As a part of, like, the world building and stuff, like, all that stuff was really interesting, actually.
Because world building is really hard to do. Effectively and... very just effectively in 12 episodes and I felt like they did a good job, so that was really cool. Definitely enjoyed that and commend them for their
like I'd watch another show set in this universe, like if the show had like a spin-off, I'd watch that. I'd be like
no, for sure. There's definitely a lot to it. They definitely leave a lot out, but I think there's no way you can cover everything, and they did a good job. And what I mean by leave a lot out is there's a lot yet to be seen and learned about.
Like overall they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, definitely. I just think
like a season 1, 12 episodes.
Right. And that's another thing is they packed so much into 12 episodes. I thought they did a really good job, not only of pacing, but just like they got a lot of good content and world building, character
There's definitely
building.
some better episodes,
right?
Than others, but like overall,
definitely a good job.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. So, but that pretty much covers everything I wanted to touch on. I mean,
we wanted to make this more structured and kind of maybe was more structured, but I think this was pretty good.
Yeah, so we touched on characters, plots, what we liked, what we didn't like. Didn't
really talk about Reinhardt's. I mean, there's too many characters, but like the redhead. I forget his name too. Kirschus, yes. He's got
it's a cool name.
He's got a sick red ship.
Oh, that ship is so cool.
Which looks so cool.
I know. It's just like it's this whole like white. No. Reinhardt's ship is white.
I feel like they're gonna focus on him way more.
Kirschus?
Yeah, especially in the next season.
Yeah, he's.
I'm looking forward to that, but like.
Vice Admiral Kirschus.
I'm worried we're not going to see Reinhardt as much, but like we really didn't talk about like their motivations or whatever. They had a whole backstory with like his sister.
Yeah.
But like that's pretty much it. Like that's it. It was like he just wants to, which is interesting. Like he's climbing the ranks literally, just like he doesn't. Like the impression I got was he doesn't really care about the Empire that much, or at all, or he hates them or whatever, But like. He just cares. He's
exploiting them. He's using them to get what he wants, and even the, it was the Kaiser, the Führer, or whatever, of the Empire, the leader, Emperor, something. Even he's like, oh yeah, Reinhardt's gonna like take over. Like my golden age is done or whatever. He's gonna
like in a good way, or like he's gonna betray me.
No, like he was just accepting. Remember, he was in the Rose Garden, and his butler was like. Reinhardt's like ascending in the ranks and all this stuff, and you got to be careful with promoting him and all this. And he's like, he's gonna take over. Like he's a good leader,
I don't remember that exactly, but yeah, I think
maybe I'm misinterpreting it.
No, I don't really. I think you're right.
I thought that was like really cool. Here's like the man in charge of the Empire who has all this power, and he's kind of like, okay, I understand that my time will end and. Someone new will take over eventually, and he's like accepting of that. I think that's a very different experience with a character that's in that position than we've had with like pretty much just the general stereotype. So I thought that was really cool.
Expect to happen.
Yes, so that was cool. A lot of cool stuff. But is there any final thoughts on the show?
I think that's about it. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, recommend. Would you give it season 1 out of 10 stars? What would you give it?
I mean, this is an official review, but I did on my anime list. I gave it a 7, which obviously that's good still.
Right.
But you can also see that as like a C.
Yeah.
If you want to. So I mean, we were pretty positive on the show, and I really do think it gets better. Like even like because it's been a couple weeks since we watched it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has been a little bit,
but I think it only gets better.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to season 2. I will watch it,
and I do really like it. But like, it's hard for me to give it a higher score just because it was like, sometimes it was just like so hard to figure out what was going on. Like with the actual like plot, like narrative of like what they're saying, I kind of just like lost track sometimes. Like it really is a thing where it's like season 2 comes out, it's way better. Like as more complete. Like season 2
it starts to make sense.
It can make me. View season 1 higher. Like it can improve the past.
Definitely, no, definitely. I think it will, but we'll have to see. For me, I'd give it a 7.5.
Oh, really?
7.5, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd probably give it a pretty high 7 too.
Not quite an 8, but definitely would recommend. And definitely, what I think is really cool about this show is it's rewatchable. I would say the show is definitely
like, hypothetically, it finishes. Like rewatching this, like binging this from start to finish, that could work really well.
Yeah,
because we watch this week to week, kinda, So
yeah, I mean, there's like with My Hero Academia, there's some episodes like I don't want to watch this again, but with Legend of the Galactic Heroes, I'd watch any of those episodes again. Like that's cool. I think they're all cool episodes. So. That is probably unique to. I usually don't say that a lot about shows, but I think that's really cool and definitely would recommend. So, all right.
All right, yeah, well, that's about it for us.
That's wrapping up. So, thanks for checking it out.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Look forward to any more...
To something. We'll talk about anime again, probably.
Yeah.
Probably My Hero Academia.
Yeah, probably. Or
probably something else, too.
Sounds good. Alrighty. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.